I think I've heard you say that calcium is not the best thing for women. Since my doctor recommends it, what else can I do?
Get a new doctor. Okay, let me give you some background so you understand. 1962 is a very good year for many reasons. One, they built Dodger Stadium. Two, I was born. But three, the most amazing book came out by a Dr. Kervran, K-E-R-V-R-A-N. He was the head of the Société Biologique de France, the head of the French Biological Society. And he did an experiment that forever changed my perception. It should have forever changed the world's perception of food, but the world ignored it. But I'm going to share it with you, and it's still published. You can still buy it. It's still incredible. Biological Transmutations by Dr. Kervran. He proved something really amazing. He took a chicken, and he denied the chicken all calcium in its diet, and he waited to see when the chicken would no longer be able to lay eggs, which were 60 or 70% calcium. But the chicken never stopped laying eggs. And 2 years later, he had saved all of the shells because he needed to find out how much calcium was coming out of the chicken until it was all gone. And the weight of the shells was almost equal to the weight of the chicken. He said, how could a chicken make as much calcium as its own weight if it never eats calcium? Crazy, right? So here's what he figured out. The human body actually creates calcium with magnesium, potassium, and silica. And the way he figured that out was he then denied the chicken of all silica, and they couldn't lay eggs just 2 days later. Put the silica back in their diet, they laid eggs. Took out the magnesium, they couldn't lay eggs. He didn't start with those 3 minerals, he did all the minerals until he narrowed it down to those 3. So a chicken that doesn't get magnesium, potassium, and silica cannot lay eggs that are 80% calcium. But a chicken that doesn't get any calcium can. So obviously the chicken's biologically transmutating those other elements into the element that it needs. Now furthermore, I need to explain something you need to understand. Calcium and osteoporosis are not really related except for one way. When we get osteoporosis, it's because our body had produced an enzyme called TFOS. That enzyme is only created when our body becomes highly polluted with an acid called uric acid. When we have too much uric acid in our body through its intelligence creates a natural defense, and that defense is an enzyme called TFOS, and TFOS dissolves bone and creates liquid calcium. The liquid calcium is metabolized by the body and surrounds the uric acid because the uric acid is so toxic that it erodes anything it makes contact with. That means the nerve endings of your body. It leads to Crohn's disease, multiple sclerosis, Alzheimer's, lupus. It can contribute to all of those. Of course, osteoarthritis and gout. But more importantly, what we learned was that when the body is overacidic, it creates osteoporosis by dissolving the bone to defend you against a much worse disease than osteoporosis. Your body would rather have you get osteoporosis at 80 or 70 than die at 50 or 60. Does that make sense? So osteoporosis is actually a sign of your body's intelligence trying to save you from an overacidic body. And the only way to stop osteoarthritis and osteoporosis, and osteopenia, which is the onset of osteoporosis, is to stop consuming the foods that create uric acids and to start eating foods that eliminate uric acid, aka the 10-day transformation.